Hey guys, Al here. Welcome to the channel. So this is a totally impromptu video. It wasn't something that I was planning on doing, but I just got finished seeing Batwoman on the CW, so I figured I would hop on and really just share with the members of our community here at Dark Side Reviews. But if it reaches a broader audience, that's cool, because I would love your feedback on some of the things that I am going to share. This video will be completely uncut, by the way, so it will be what it will be. And if I say anything that you feel like is offensive or you feel like it needs some addressing, please feel free to share whatever you want to share in the comments. But one thing we do on this channel is we keep it respectful. You don't have to agree with me, but I do ask that you be respectful to me, because I'm certainly going to be that way to you, and you will find me in the comments. I try and answer every single one in more than just a like and a heart. We really try and get some conversation going. So that said, I was not really looking forward to the show, as I said, because I'm not a big CW fan of their comic book shows. I love Smallville, probably one of my favorite superhero shows of all times that were on TV, but some of the latter ones I'm not a real big fan of. I do like some of the episodes of Black Lightning. So I'm saying all that to say that I'm not a huge fan of what they're doing on the CW, but this show is interesting enough because someone said you should check it out, because we're like, dude, it's really the first female superhero show with a female lead at its core, and you should check that out. And I said, man, you know what? Let me do that, because here's one thing about me. Like, I'm all about diversity in our movies, especially in our comic book shows and movies and things like that, because there's so many different representations within the comics, and I feel like we should see more of that on screen. So based on that, I was like, all right, let's check it out. So woo! I do not have a lot of good things to say about this show. And it's all technical, right? It's all about production value. It's all about writing and things like that. I know some people are going to say, well, probably some of the problems you have on the show are about agendas. And certainly this show does have agendas woven into it. But let's face it, a lot of the stuff that we see today has agendas woven into it. So that's not my matter here, though. That's not something that causes me to say that the show is not a good show, because honestly, a show can have agendas in it, and from a storytelling and a production aspect, it can still be a good show. Might not agree with all the agendas in it, but there are plenty of movies, TV shows I've seen that have had agendas in it that have not been agendas that I've agreed with, but I can't take away from the fact that they were good shows. So I am subjective enough, or objective enough, it's objective, right, enough to be able to say that. My problem with this show is that it's not a good show. The writing's not good. Ruby Rose is not good as a lead actress, but I've never felt like she's really had the talent to carry the weight of a show, being the lead actress in almost anything I've seen her in. So she certainly is not a strong enough actress to be able to carry the lead in this show, and it really shows. I feel like the writing is off in this show. I feel like the pacing is off in this show. And just the whole way that the story is executed is off in the show. A lot of things feel forced. A lot of things feel like the pace is kind of too fast in some situations, and then in other situations it's not. It doesn't feel like a very balanced work, or it doesn't feel like a very sophisticated show for the time and date that we're in for the production of superhero shows. Now, case in point, something on the flip side of that, which I wasn't a big fan of, but I have to admit, the episodes I saw, they weren't bad, which is Jessica Jones. Now, I could never get into Jessica Jones like I could some of the other Netflix Marvel movies or Marvel shows, but that was a sophisticated show with some good storytelling. Very good storytelling, and the acting was well executed in Jessica Jones as well. It just wasn't my type of show. It wasn't a show that I really could get into. But I give that example to say, when you look at something like that with a superhero TV show with a female lead, and then you put that against what I just saw with the CW with Batwoman, they're not even on the same level. So I just want to share my thoughts about this first episode, and I was optimistic. I was hopeful, actually, when the person said that this show would be good, even though, as I said, I wasn't necessarily looking forward to it. But I was like, cool. All right, well, we got another show. Female lead. Awesome. Let's see what's going on. Maybe it'll be good. Maybe it'll be great. I could not get behind it. Now, who knows? Maybe it'll get better later on. Maybe the writing will pick up. Maybe the strength of the storytelling will pick up. Maybe the strength of performances will pick up as well. I don't think so, unless something happens with Ruby Red and her acting just overnight. I don't think that's going to be the case. it's just not a good show. And I can't even see it really holding my entertainment. I don't care what happens with it. There are a little bit of, the show does want to have some complexities, I guess, in the story. I'm not going to give anything away. I'm not going to spoil it in case you've seen it. But it just wasn't very interesting to me. And as I said before, just to reiterate the fact that I don't know the backstory about her in the comics. I have no idea. I don't really read DC Comics like that. The only person I probably would know a fair amount about in DC Comics is Superman, believe it or not, for all of you guys who saw the Superman versus Homelander video. I know because everybody knows Superman, right? But the rest of them, just not that big of a fan. So if someone wants to say, well, it's because you don't know the canon of things like that and that's why you don't appreciate the story, that's not the case. It doesn't matter about necessarily, it's not the story per se, it is the execution of how they have done the show. It is the execution of the writing and the performances and the production value. Those are the issues that I have with this show. So probably won't be covering it, just to let you know. But I did want to share my thoughts on it because I do think that it is a good thing. I will say this, that we do have a superhero show with a female lead. I think that's great. I think that's awesome. I mean, I like the diversity that we see there, and not everybody feels that way. I know that there are some folks that feel like, man, it's kind of social justice stuff. We don't need that in our entertainment. But I beg to differ. I feel like it is. With things like this, they are reflections apparently of what we see in the comic books, especially when we're talking about comic book movies. So we should see things as they are. And I also just think that we should see more diversity in our movie making because it really reflects the world around us. Sometimes when we get that kind of stuff, we get agendas caught up in our movies and TV shows. And listen, I get that. You can't do anything about it. You can't do anything about it. Some folks will agree with the things that are shown. Some folks will disagree with the things that are shown. But it is what it is. And I don't think that agendas are going to change. That's all I can say. But I do think it's crazy for people to say that a show in and of itself is not good because of an agenda in the show. It's one thing to not agree with an agenda, and it's another thing to say that the show is bad. Because you don't agree with the agenda. So that I wouldn't say. As I said, there are plenty of shows that have agendas that I don't agree with. But when we're talking about writing and production value and stuff like that, I mean, what am I going to say? It's not a great show, or it's not a good show from those aspects, from the storytelling and the execution aspects. I'm not going to say that, even though it might have some stuff in it that I'm not, just not stuff that I disagree with. So that said, you guys, I would love to know your feedback on this. If you have seen it, what do you think about it? And again, make sure, man, that if you comment, you can say what you want to say. You do not have to disagree with me. Again, one of the things I love about the Darksiders community is that we don't always disagree on the different things that we see. And you guys have voiced your opinions about that with me, but everybody's been respectful, and it's cool. It's all about the dialogue here. That's what really I hope the crux of this channel will be when you and I get together and we talk about the things that we like to watch. We deal honestly with each other about it, and we're not going to always disagree, but we can do that with respect and still keep it moving. So I love each and every one of the folks in the community. If you are new here, hopefully you will consider joining the community. Share your thoughts on what we saw here, some other stuff on the channel. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. All right, you guys, I'm going to take a line from my man Terrence and do a little bit of a different exit. Al out.